Turning Blevins buckles, amateur saddlery skills for functionality that might save money but not look good. I have this saddle for a 3-year-old Mustang. I don't want to get another nice saddle right now, and I can't. And these stirrups have strange buckles and they're really wide stirrup leathers, and they're pretty stiff. I wanted to be able to twist them like I've done on other saddles, but because of the buckles and everything, it wasn't going to work out. So I ordered these stirrups off of Teskey.com and from their sales barn. They're $85 and they are pretty good leather. I've used Teskey leathers before. They say breeder's futurity, which is kind of funny because they're going on a Mustang. But I ran into a problem. The buckles were facing in such a way where I couldn't just turn them and do the twist. And then the excess stirrup leathers were hanging down in front of the stirrup, which not seen here because this is the finished photo. But I, for other reasons, had to order some rivets and burrs, and then now I have to put on a breast collar D-ring, so I decided to go ahead and try to turn the Blevins buckles. These are copper rivets and burrs and the setter. I got these from Tandy, and since ordering them, I've read that Weaver does make better ones, and the rivets and burrs that I took off the Teskey stirrup fenders and leathers seem like a different style that I think I would have preferred for this particular application. But I went ahead and used them. First thing you have to do is take the rivets and burrs off of the Blevins buckle and stirrup leather. And I read on the internet you use an angle grinder for this, and obviously I'm not that good with it. You get really close to the leather. Maybe some people can do it without scratching the leather. Once you grind the burr off, you gotta poke the rivet through the leather, the buckle, and then the other side of the leather. And I used a finishing post thing. I don't know what you call those, but you use it for putting finishing nails into trim. And that worked to an extent. If you have like excess copper around the edges, because the copper is so soft, it's gonna maybe like flatten it out and make it wider in the hole. So I also just worked at prying it with some screwdrivers on the other side, and then eventually got in my well, I use wire cutters for a lot of this stuff, so I got my wire cutters in and kind of pried it off. I also used the angle grinder again once I got enough clearance, and pulled the post out from the other side because the copper started just getting smashed. Okay, once you get the rivets and burrs, the old ones out, you can put the buckle, you turn the buckle in the leather, and at this point, make sure you have it oriented the way you want. I took both Blevins buckles off before going to the new rivets part, and so I did not give myself an example of the old way I wanted. Luckily, I didn't make the mistake of putting it on the wrong way, but just like always a good reminder to double check that what you want to do is correct. And this shows that the excess stirrup leathers will be able to be wrapped into the stirrup hobble and not be sticking out. So now we're moving on. I've got the rivets in, and I gotta set the burr. Okay, so I had already put these new stirrups on the saddle, and I did not want to take them out again. So these are attached to the saddle, and it kind of makes it annoying to get that on the workbench. So if you have the stirrups off the saddle, that's even better. If you're working with them attached to your saddle, I suggest you take your cinch off and everything, because there is a lot of copper metal flakes that fly off during this whole process. And when you cut the rivet, you want to leave enough to where you have some kind of amount to smash down, because the metal's so soft. You smash it down, and that's what holds it on the little burr washer thingy. I forgot to say at the beginning of this, but you should use these things on some scrap leather before working on your saddle, obviously, so that way you can figure out how much rivet to leave, and how your wire cutters cut, and how close they get, and everything like that. And also, you know, hammering as straight as possible. It was a little hard to hammer straight on here. My rivets were flat backed. The rivets that came off the Teskey stirrup leathers were rounded, and I like that design more because as you're hammering the burr down and sandwiching everything together, I think that the rounded top goes into the leather better, especially if things aren't totally flat, as they were not with the angle of the Blevins buckle and everything like that. And so with the flat back, as it might turn a little bit, it probably is just kind of pulling away from the flat top and not digging in. It all turned out okay. I think it's gonna work out, and so maybe you will see if it's worth it to you to try to do this. Yeah, I don't want to buy another saddle or new stirrup leathers right now, but I do want to have comfortable stirrups for riding my little 3, almost 4-year-old Mustang.